Across the Board with Ian the Colonel back here on hawkradio.org and acrosstheboardradio.com. I can't harp enough. I can't compliment ourselves enough, honestly, Colonel, about how we have the best bands in the world on the show and every genre. So we've got bands from all over Europe, Australia, all over the U.S., as well as Canada. One of the top bands in Canada right now, and for years to come, has got to be the Real Mackenzies. Paul Mackenzie is with us right now. Paul, welcome to the show.
Hello. Welcome me to the show. It's great to be here. I'm sitting here in Grants Pass with some nice huevos rancheros in my lap.
Nice.
Ready for a nice breakfast, and away we go.
All right, let's get to it then. You guys have got a sort of in the vein of Dropkick Murphys and Flogging Molly, where it's kind of Scottish Celtic rock bands, and love everything that you do. You guys have a new album out right now with Fat Records, but tell us a little bit about, I read in doing some of the background research on you guys that you were actually, tell me if this is true, you heard an Andy Stewart record coming from one room and the Sex Pistols coming from another and decided to sort of combine the genre. Is that true?
It certainly is true. I was living in a house with a bunch of different roommates, and it was actually Andy Stewart, Sex Pistols, and Public Enemy all at the same time. And I said,
whoa,
wow, I think this could work. And here we are.
See, that's good. It pays to live with a lot of roommates, I guess.
Yeah, well, when we first started, we did a lot more cover material than we do now because, of course, we've been writing in that for a few years.
Right.
But in the old days, we did cover quite a number of interesting songs, and Public Enemy was one of them.
Yeah, and I know one of the things is my best friend from back home, Fletch, he absolutely would wear your CDs out. He's a huge fan,
and he's Scottish.
He's Scottish and Irish heritage both, and he absolutely.
That's trouble.
Yeah, exactly.
It makes him an alcoholic. Exactly.
He might drink a little bit. I'm not sure.
Just a little. He might drink and fight just a bit.
He loves to fight, loves to drink. Who knew?
Anyway,
but he got me exposed to you guys when I was younger because he listened to you a lot. What do you think? Other than the fact that you have such a unique sound, what else do you think makes the music so appealing to the masses?
Well, what we do is we take, for the most part, a little bit of Scottish history. And Scottish history, the well of Scottish history is so vast and deep and ancient, we could easily try to write 10 songs a day for the rest of our lives and not get through a third of it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's so ancient. I mean, they were trading with the Balkans and trading in the Baltic in the Dark Ages in 1000. What with their textiles and, their nice meat pies and sheep and wool and all that. It was quite a commodity, as it remains today, Yeah. So, for us, I was sort of raised on it. It was pushed down my gullet as a child, and of course I rebelled against it. And it was another motivation to get this band together to try to make them pay for what they had done to me. And yet, as it happened, it turned out that I also became a victim of the charm of it, and thus I'm totally hooked on it.
And we're talking about the new album called West Winds. It is out right now, again, on Fat Records, great label. Several friends of the show on that label as well. How did you guys get hooked up with Fat Mike and Fat Records, and what does the future look like for other albums coming out?
It's we first got hooked up with a gentleman called Honest Donald, and we met at
sounds like a trusting fellow.
Met at the Starlight Room in San Francisco many years ago, and we wrote a sort of a handshake contract on a bar napkin. But of course, the bar napkin got all soaked with booze, and it disappeared. So we worked with Honest Donald until we found out that Honest Donald was actually Fat Michael.
Oh, really?
And so once
alias.
we found that out, and his disguise and cover was blown, we decided to move on. But we had, I think, one or two albums out on the Honest Dons, and then as things developed, they took Honest Dons down, and we moved on to Fat.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it was because we're ready and willing to work. There's no excuses. We put out the album and we tour it. and we tour the hell out of it.
Yeah, you guys are constantly on the road, and that's what you're known for, really. I mean, the albums are incredible, but your live shows are really what your reputation is built on, correct?
Yes, and they're getting more refined in our old age. I mean, I no longer waste copious amounts of beer in the air. I make sure most of it goes down my gullet.
I was going to say, you still consume it, you just don't waste it. I like it. That's
right.
Way to be efficient, Paul. I like where you're going with this.
Yeah, and there's also, you know, after you do this for a while, it becomes second nature, of course. And so we have a really great lineup, and everything is really cohesive and stuff. And we're also touting a bit of a dynamic scenario as well. You know, we're not doing like this full-on blast. We have an acoustic set, or an acoustic section in the set. You know, everyone drops their electrics and switches onto acoustics for about 5 or 6 songs, and then switches back. And so that dynamic really, really helps us in terms of diversity, and it's just a lot of fun.
Now,
as soon as the acoustic guitar comes out, it changes the dynamic. It's kind of like sitting beside the fire with us for a little while.
Right.
How does that? Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, the electrics tend to intimidate, and the acoustics tend to draw people in.
Now, I was going to say, how does that affect Gord playing the bagpipes, going from electric to acoustic? Everything's just the same to him, right?
Yeah, well, you know, our old bagpiper, the guy who played with us on West Winds, on our last European tour, we slowly watched him unravel. Now, I'm not saying it's good or bad or whatever, but not everyone is cut out for this sort of an environment.
Right.
And the poor lad slowly unraveled, and he ended up jumping out of the moving vehicle in Milan, Italy. So that night we played without a piper, and next day in Rome we got our friend Aspi from the province of Galicia in Spain.
Okay.
And he showed up and started playing the pipes with us, and he's been with us ever since.
That's awesome. Well, just touching on the other story for a second, do you know what happened to the guy who jumped out of the moving vehicle, or just...
I haven't seen or heard from him since. All I know is he was arrested by the police.
Oh, well, there you go. So he's probably not available to play in any bands. Interesting. So it's good that you guys got somebody else so quickly, because I can't imagine that bagpipe players are a dime a dozen out there like
well,
guitar
they're
players.
not, but here in America, there are many pipers. I mean, we didn't know what was going to go on, and so we put the flags up. And apparently, there's lots of bands like Scruffy from the Dropkicks, and the guy from Flatfoot 56 was helping us out by singing. And apparently, we've got a couple of guys that will be diehard pipers for us if we need them. And it's really nice to know that.
You also have a guy.
Even though the instrument is incredibly hard to play, and it's really, really diverse and unique and eclectic and all that. But it just goes to show that there is lots of Scottish history steeped in North America.
For sure.
After the Battle of Culloden and Cumberland came in with his dragoons to Scotland, a lot of the rebels were sent over here as slaves.
I don't know much about it, but that sounds familiar to me. Yes.
I don't either. I really don't know much about Celtic history, and that's why I want to go to a Real Mackenzie show so I can learn a little bit about it.
Like I said,
right on. Well, all of it is readily available, and it's incredibly interesting. I mean, in terms of the way that it's developed into what it is today.
Yeah, and I know.
And that's steeped in old American history. A lot of those guys really helped to carve out what it is today.
Absolutely. Well, let's get back to this beer for a second. Now, I know you guys you guys promoted a beer for a while, so let's leave that one out of it. But you talked about you don't waste beer anymore; you still consume it. You guys are Celtic, so that I would think, I don't know, Harp or Guinness has got to be in there somewhere. But you're from Canada, so Molson or Pabst Blue Ribbon might be in there. What kind of beer do you prefer? There's a whole lot going on there.
Well, the beer I had for breakfast was a Sierra Nevada, and the Bone and I and the drummer, we all had a pint of beer as we were waiting for our Huevos Rancheros. And the microbreweries here in America are quite nice, I have to admit.
Yeah.
Except I don't like the glasses they serve them in. They're much too small.
Right.
Beer for breakfast. I've never tried that. I got to get into that.
We need to get
I
Paul
like
down our way because we get a lot of good microbreweries around here, especially with Dogfish Head in our area, Evolutions in our area. What's the other one in
and
Georgetown?
they all must be tried. They must be sampled.
16 miles, 9 miles, something like that.
16 miles, something like that.
I don't know. Somebody's mile.
Not the M&M movie.
I'm salivating.
Right.
If there's one thing I like almost as much, or love almost as much as playing and performing and writing music, it's beer.
Yeah, and I can understand.
I think we all love beer. Hey, do we love beer? Yeah, we love beer.
Yeah, beer, whiskey, women. I put women high up there as well, but...
Oh, yeah. But you know something? Beer doesn't complain if you stay out drinking beer all night.
Ooh,
that is true.
And beer doesn't complain if you drink another beer while you're having another beer. You know what I mean? You know where I'm going with this?
Oh, my God. That is outstanding advice.
We love women, too. But beer can be a little more congenial at times.
Right, and you can drink 2-3 beers.
Beer doesn't bleed. Beer doesn't bleed either.
I don't even know what to say to that.
You're right. You can drink. You can have 2, 3, 4 shades of beer in a night and have no problem with that.
Right.
It's cheaper.
Except I have been known to walk into a bar and order a bloody beer. Give me a bloody beer. So they put a little tomato juice in it for me.
I think Paul McKenzie needs to be my new guru, man. I think you need to be my life coach, Paul. We're gonna make that happen. I love
no problem, man. I'm on the way down.
I love everything you're saying here, brother. I'll tell you. And again, West Winds is the new album. It is out right now on Fat Records.
Right on. And now I want to talk about where we got the name for West Winds.
Okay, good. Talk about whatever you want, brother.
On the road, the band tends to be a little flatulent, and so this is a cryptic reference to the band's flatulence on the road.
Nice. Could have just called it Safety, but that works too.
It's a wind from the west.
Oh man,
you can play the bagpipes. Never mind. Anyway,
don't. No, you're not gonna play the bagpipes like that. That's not acceptable.
Right. Again, let's see. Twitter at @real_Mackenzies. By the way, that is MC, not MAC. MCKENZIES, or Facebook.com/TheRealMackenzies. Go ahead, Colonel.
The other thing.
That's us. Now, I need to explain where we got the name for the band.
Okay, Paul McKenzie, do that.
I'm a McKenzie, and it's just so happens that the worst single malt Scotch available in Scotland is called the Real Mackenzie. So we named this band the Real Mackenzie because we were the worst single malt band in the town at the time. So anyway, that's stuck.
Some really
and a lot of
bands.
people think that it's because my name is Mackenzie, but that the reference is because of the bad Scotch.
Good to know. We're gonna have to try that Scotch
if
now.
If you were the worst band,
don't drink it. Don't.
Got to do it. I want to do it now.
No, don't. And if you really have to, mix it with water.
I don't like mixing anything with water. Beverages should not be mixed with water to dilute. It should be straight or something else.
If you have a good Scotch and you put a little bit of water in it, it works the same as, take, for example, gasoline with air in your automobile.
Mm-hmm.
It really does work better if you have just a touch of water in there.
I can't drink Scotch. They say it's an acquired taste, and I haven't acquired it yet. It tastes like gasoline to me.
Well, get busy.
All right, fair enough.
You develop that taste by the time I get down there.
See, he's your life coach. He's helping you.
We'll have one at the bar. Huh?
That's right. Paul, my life coach, said I have to do it, so I'm on it, my man. I'm on it. Paul, where you guys are on tour a little bit of everywhere right now, and I think you're even going to Europe coming up soon. Is that right?
Well, we just finished about a month with Reverend Horton Heat across Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're hitting America. We got 2 weeks off, and we're going to hit the summer festival tour of Europe. And then we're probably going to hit Mexico, South America, and sometime between then and now we'll be recording another album. So that's the general plan for the future.
You're on tour with Reverend Horton Heat right now?
No, we just finished the Canadian tour with them.
Yeah.
Damn.
And we played with a band called The Brains out of Montreal. They were really good, very fine band. And, of course, Reverend Horton Heat, his band is amazing. I was working the merch booth every night, and I never got tired of them.
The Brains. Write that down, Colonel. We have to look into them.
Yeah,
the
we'll
Brains out of Montreal. Got it.
I mean, that's just a hell of a show between the Real Mackenzies and Reverend Horton Heat, man. That's I want to go. I want to go find a time machine, go back, go watch that show.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal. That or you gotta make
I wish I had a time machine too. I could do a lot of interesting things with it.
Oh no.
Oh man, I can't wait to see you guys in person. Like I said, heard the music, love you guys, but I've never had the chance to check you guys out live. So really looking forward to that. Down here in the U.S. Now, Paul, if you only had 5 to 10 minutes left, probably dying of alcohol poisoning, what's the last song you would want to hear or perform? Yours or anybody else's? Last song.
The last song, well, it would have to be Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen.
Performing it or listening to it?
Well, it's my favorite karaoke song.
Oh.
Because it's such a challenge, and I love Freddie Mercury.
Well, how do you feel about Adam Lambert now from American Idol now performing with Queen? I'm against it myself. How do you feel?
Well, I'm so busy I never get to watch television, and I don't know what's going on with any of that. So I just, when I need to do something, or if I'm feeling a little weak when I have to go on stage, I channel the essence of the greats. And I'll go Otis Redding one day. I'll go Wilson Pickett. I'll go Freddie Mercury. On and on and on. The greats are great to channel.
For sure, yeah. Mercury was one of the best performers of all time.
So what you're saying is you're never going to channel Chad Kroeger.
Paul, it sounds like you guys don't have any downtime, but if you do, what do you do? Like, what does Paul McKenzie do to unwind, or when he's not leading?
I like to rip up feathery pillows and sleeping bags, because that makes it double downtime.
Double downtime, nice. Double down. All right, I got to start doing that too.
Yeah.
Apparently, the doctor prescribed it. I'm on it, Paul.
But it's really great. We go to thrift stores and we buy all these feathery pillows and just tear them up in the van and turn on the air conditioning. It's kind of like a feather sauna, and then we open the windows and all the feathers go all over the bags. Great.
Oh God! If we go see these guys live, we have to go bring pillows.
And then, hey, you know what? You know what else is really good? Getting a bottle of Kahlua in there, because then the feathers steak is like kind of being tarred and feathered.
Tarred and feathered with Kahlua.
Oh yeah, and then you walk into the gas station all covered in Kahlua and feathers. It's quite a spectacle, especially when you're in a kilt.
Oh man, that's a good point. Yeah,
man.
You guys look like a freak show coming off the road. You guys have got to start a video blog or something, man. Or a reality show just following you guys.
Now, again,
yeah, it would be fun. We've been waiting for someone to do that. But actually, downtime, which we get very little, it's spent sort of relaxing and reading.
You say reading or bleeding?
Bleeding and reading.
Bleeding.
Internally bleeding.
Bleeding from the night before and reading about it the next day. But yeah, it's okay. Everyone has a different personality, and we all have our ways of you got to get out of it if you want to get into it, and sometimes we run away from one another for a little while, and it's all very therapeutic.
Right.
And as soon as I find out what that word means, I'll use it in the proper context.
You can read about it after bleeding.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Hey, Paul, the other thing too is, and I know Fletch got this a lot. My friend Fletch, he wore a kilt a lot, and he would wear it when he worked at a bar to bounce. He was a bouncer, and he would wear the kilt to work as a bouncer.
Daring someone to
kidding.
say something to him, yeah.
How many times do you get asked, is there anything underneath the kilt?
Well, our reply to that is there's nothing worn under the kilt. It's all in working order.
That's right.
There you go.
Well, some of the boys will say, your grandmother's lipstick or something like that. But, there's a few things. But it's very important for all of you kilt wearers out there to never, ever disrespect the kilt by wearing underpants under it.
That's right.
It's just not done. And besides, how do you expect your yarbles to ring twixt your thighs like the bells of Edinburgh when you're walking down the street when they're all trussed up in pantaloons? It's disgusting.
See,
So,
that's Fletch.
okay.
He wouldn't wear anything underneath.
Duly noted. So when we see them, we can't stand in the photo pit because we might be a little bit too low and too close. So,
and there's a way to test if a guy's wearing underpants under his coat. You just take an ice cube and just pop it up, twist his legs. You don't have to touch it. Just throw it up there. And if it reacts to it, he's not wearing underpants. But if he is wearing underpants, he won't react to it.
Okay.
And that, in my mind, it's a sin. Get out the tripod. throw it up.
Oh man, it's the Paul McKenzie Show. We gotta have you call in once a week, brother. This is entertaining
problem.
stuff. I'll
I'll
tell
be
you.
looking forward to it.
That'd be good. Well, West Winds is out right now, and looking forward to a new album. Then again, maybe even next year. I mean, you guys are on. You're either on the road or in the studio.
Probably even before that. But, we have another sound that it really took me a long while to warm up to it. But we recorded a live acoustic show in Kreuzberg, Berlin.
Okay.
And it's available as well. And it really gives you the idea of being there with us. Because we have a fan club there, and there's a lot of banter and profanity and humor and stuff.
Like it.
Along with a great facsimile of our songs that are done in an acoustic realm.
What's the name of the album, Paul? I don't have information.
It's called Shine Not Burn.
Yeah.
Shine Not Burn. Got
And
it.
it's all totally live. It's got Carl Alvarez on the mandolin from The Descendants, and
Awesome.
and we have violin players in there and stuff. It's actually quite a nice album. But like I say, it took me a little while to warm up to it.
I'll have to check that out then as well. Appreciate it. That's Paul from the Real Mackenzies. He is a real Mackenzie, by the way, duly noted.
He's a trip.
Yeah, and don't stand under him when he's on stage, just unless you're female. Go for it. West Winds.
Yeah, but the last trip I was on was when I was drinking too much beer and I fell down on the sidewalk. I scraped both my knees. But it was okay. I liked it. It gave me something to do while we're driving. I kind of, I pick the scabs little by little, so they don't scar.
Pick the Kahlua and feathers off your scabs. Absolutely, man.
Yeah, it mixes up quite well.
Because
nice little collage,
You, unlike your beer, you bleed.
He does.
Yes.
Man. All right. Well, that's. I don't even know how to end this, man. Paul, we appreciate it. We'll be back here in a few minutes. He's the Colonel. I'm me on Across the Board on Hawk Radio.
And acrossboardradio.com.